Thank you very much for joining me on this Friday. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. We have a developing system that is going to slide into the Caribbean this weekend, and that is a bigger concern. There's a lot going on. So what I want to do in this video is I want to get into that close to home. Look at this flare-up of rain and storms right here. That could develop closer to Haiti, Puerto Rico, even down through Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia, Barbados, rain chance going way up with this. So I want to get into close to home first, then I want to get into the potential development in the Gulf. Then I'm going to swing out into the Atlantic. We've got a couple tropical waves out there that look like they're developing. And of course, this right now is Hilary. Winds right now, I just checked in, are at 145 miles per hour or 235 kilometers an hour. A major hurricane, high impacts parts of Mexico in through the southwest United States. I'll cover that as well. So again, plenty going on. I just wanted to spell it out, what I'm going to be tracking for you in this video, and I'll break it down step by step in depth for you. Now, again, a lot going on this map. These are the areas of potential development. And again, this one here of higher concern. I'm going to cover everything. But if you've been following me over the last few weeks, my biggest issue has been the water temperatures, that something could pop up close to home. And that's what I'm watching right through here, Eastern Caribbean, back through the Northern Caribbean, and then I'll get into all these other areas for you as well. So plenty to cover. So let me start with this. Here we are in the Caribbean, my friends, in Jamaica, Belize, Mexico, Honduras, the ABC Islands, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Puerto Rico. Here's Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana near Suriname. Look at this buildup of rain and storms. Again, this is all ahead of those bigger waves back behind it. But here's the issue. As this blob works its way towards St. Lucia, Barbados, Dominica, Guadeloupe, and Martinique, development is possible in this. And as soon as this weekend, we're going to see that potential of some development. Now, here's the breakdown. I'm looking at two computer models. I'm looking at a million out there. But again, these two in particular, and they're pretty close in agreement. I want to talk about that in a second. Now, the European model takes this area, tries to develop it a little bit. Again, nothing as of now is making this a hurricane, but there is the potential this could become a tropical storm even as soon as Sunday or Monday. It could spin up pretty quickly, but regardless, I'll get into those impacts in just a second. European model, a little bit more west, so it would take this tropical disturbance, move it just to the north of the ABC Islands on Sunday, and then start to drift it a little bit to the north, closer to Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. That's the European model. Here's the American model, the GFS, again, generally showing a similar development into a potential of a tropical storm, but a little bit more to the north, in which it would bring it closer to Dominica, and then eventually swing it back near St. Kitts and Nevis, and then as we work our way over toward Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. But again, there are some differences, but both models are doing a good job. Now, here's what's going on with the models. The track is uncertain with this because it is a developing system. The computer models do a better job at forecasting a system that's already developed. They know exactly where the center of this is. There is no center of this. It's not a classified system at this point. So the models kind of go back and forth. So while there are these differences, that's not a big concern to me. The bigger concern is simply the development of this. And again, I know a lot of folks are talking about Hilary out there, which is super important, and these other tropical waves. But again, this is more of a concern. I know this may not get all the clicks and stuff, but I do this channel for safety because again, we're close to land right here. Again, Hilary's been well advertised. This here is a developing system, and again, the water temperatures are super warm. So I do expect a little development out of this, but it could develop into a tropical storm, and here's why. I don't just look at the models, I look at all the environmental conditions. Very warm water through here. We're looking at some of those water temperatures right around 29, 30, even pushing 31 degrees Celsius. So we're looking at water temperatures that are in the upper 80s, near 90 degrees Fahrenheit in some spots. And not only is the water warm up top, but the heat content is substantial. The water is warm at a decent depth, a little bit more than usual. So as it churns up more of the water, it actually just brings up more warm water. So again, that could really feed a developing system. Now, let's look at the wind shear, the dry air. We know we've had dry air around. This map I know is a little bit crazy. Here's Cuba, Jamaica, Puerto Rico right here, Haiti, Dominican Republic, get over toward Montserrat, over toward Saba, and again, all islands matter, small, big, whatever, got you covered. And again, as I watch this system develop in the next couple days, I'll be able to fine-tune further island by island potential of wind and rain. But the wind shear kind of in between. There's a lot of wind shear here. Now, wind shear is a good thing. Wind shear in the central Caribbean, those are winds that kind of come in the opposite direction of a developing system or a system, and they just knock off the thunderstorm tops. And that's a good thing because then the storms can't build up and this can't be a super strong system. But over here, there is some wind shear, but it's not crazy. So again, the wind shear kind of in between. Water temperature is very warm, so this does have my attention. So let me take you through this first. Then we're going to switch over to the Gulf of Mexico. Then I'll get you into the Eastern Pacific. But watching the rain, and we've already had rain. Last few days, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, we've had the rain. Now, this is the American model. Now, I'll point out again the European model as well, some of the differences. This is by the time we get into late tomorrow, and you see a big blob of rain. European model has this as well. Doesn't have it developing at this point. But again, we don't need a named system to cause big issues. We know that across the Caribbean, across the Gulf states, this could lead to a lot of flooding. Flooding is a likelihood. Exactly where? Still to be determined. But again, watching Antigua, Barbados south through Trinidad and Tobago. Now, let me move you out in time. This is by the time we get into Sunday. This is Sunday afternoon, big blob of rain. European model has this as well. Now, this is where it gets split. Again, the American model swings a little bit more here. European model a little bit more over here. It's common to have those differences this time. So it's not like one model is necessarily doing better than another. Just, again, a few subtle changes, but that can make a big difference overall. So Sunday, the potential of heavy rain moving in to parts of the Eastern Caribbean and gusty winds, not a classified system at this point. Now, as we work our way into Monday, same thing. We could still be dealing with rain in spots. Now, American model's more here, European model be a little bit more over here, and then eventually drop some of the moisture here. So those are the differences. But either way, watching Monday into Tuesday, somewhere either over here or over here, there's going to be heavy rain. Now, this is Tuesday. It's not showing this becoming a huge system, blowing up into a hurricane or anything like that. But again, I do have the concern that this does become a named system. This does become a classified system just because of the environmental conditions that we've been seeing. So again, I'll just keep an eye on this sector very carefully. And over the next couple days, I'm going to be breaking it down for you further. So let me just kind of back up and kind of set the stage to be very clear. Now, where this new tropical disturbance goes, we're going to get 125 millimeters of rain or more. That's 5 inches or more. Don't exactly know how the track's going to pan out, but as I mentioned, Antigua, Barbuda, even Anguilla south, watching through Trinidad and Tobago, entire Eastern Caribbean, watching out for the higher chance of rain, higher likelihood, St. Lucia, Barbados, Dominica, watching out for that rain chance increasing. This area will lead to flash flooding, potential of mudslides if this swings up toward Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. We'll be watching out for mudslides, very dangerous river crossings wherever this goes, and some gusty winds. Even if it's not a named system, winds could be gusting 80 kilometers an hour or 50 miles per hour. And again, that could cause some issues. So watching this very closely. And as I mentioned, clearly I'm on top of this for you, and I will zoom down for you island by island as I get a good handle on what's going to happen with that system, especially if it looks like it's going to spin up. There's Hilary. I'll get to that in a second. Here's what's going on in the Gulf. Now, this is on track. On track from what we've talked about the last few days. This is by tomorrow. Watching some extra rain, northern Bahamas, down through South Florida, and watching my friends in Cuba. As we work our way into the weekend, we're going to see this blob of rain moving into the Gulf. Now, I'm not seeing anything going crazy with this, but it's a pretty similar scenario to what's going on in the Eastern Caribbean. Water temperatures are so warm. So again, has my attention that it could spin up. Now, as far as the track of this goes, a little more uncertain. Whether or not it gets a name, we'll see together. But with that said, we're going to see this area of rain working a little bit closer to Texas and extreme northeastern sections of Mexico. So this looks like we'll get some rain. All in this area, we desperately need some of the rain. Louisiana, we need it. It looks like most of this is going to be to the south and kind of be a miss. So whatever this is, will pull ashore, it looks like in Texas on Tuesday, even extreme northeastern sections of Mexico. Again, missing Louisiana, but I'll see. Hopefully it shifts a little bit Sometimes if this just stays a weak area, kind of a broad area of low pressure, it may filter in a little bit more rain, but that's how it stands now. And again, nothing showing it blowing up into this massive hurricane or anything like that, but those water temperatures are an issue this season. They're always warm. I get that. It's August, they're always warm, but this year they're just running so much above average that close to home issues are a concern. Now, elsewhere out here, again, this is the blob or kind of least area that is a bigger concern for the Caribbean. Got another area here. Now, this area here will get a little bit closer to the northeastern Caribbean. Some development is possible on that. So we've got this one and then this one. But again, the leading batch, obviously, I led this video with that. That is a higher concern for safety issues, especially if that develops further and we can see the potential of some flooding. And then we get back here. This area here, if it does develop, the early indications are that that one would want to stay a little bit more out to sea. But we'll wait and see on that. So whatever gets a name on the list, and again, this is common to track a lot this time of year. So again, this is overall, this is pretty normal. It's active out there, but there are no named systems in the Atlantic Basin right now. The next name on the list is Emily, and then Franklin after that. All right, here is Hilary. Again, winds making this a major hurricane at this point. This is a classic looking system, and I mean that in the bad sense of the term. Fortunately, it's over the open waters. The American model has done a very good job with this versus the European model. The European model is really shifting this a little bit more out to sea, and that's why I don't rely on one model over another. But you can see it here again, very dangerous system. This is going to lift to the north. We're going to see high impacts for my friends in parts of Mexico and the southwestern United States. It is a major hurricane now. It is going to be very close to a landfall by Sunday midday in the parts of Baja California, right in the central portions. So watching that over toward Mexico on Sunday. So all the preps, Baja California, they need to be kind of rushed to completion today because conditions will go downhill, especially as we work our way into tomorrow. And then eventually this will weaken, enters cooler water and the friction from the land, but it could still be tropical storm strength rolling into Southern California. Huge issue for the rain. Extreme flash flooding a possibility. Southern California, parts of Nevada, keeping an eye on Arizona, but especially Southern California for extreme flash flooding. That will be a concern. And you see the arrival times for the tropical storm force winds. We're going to start to see some working in near Cabo as we work our way into tonight. And then tomorrow, central sections here, northern sections by Sunday morning, and the conditions go downhill. And then later in the day on Sunday in Southern California, some tropical storm force winds will be possible. Here's the probability you get tropical storm force winds. Well, we're going to see that again, parts of the Baja California. We're going to get some hurricane force gusts. As we work our way into Southern California, as of now, about a 30 to 40% chance of sustained tropical storm force winds. That is incredibly unusual. Sometimes we get the remnants of a system, but to actually get a system, it is not going to be a hurricane by the time it gets to Southern California. But again, this is going to cause huge issues. Extreme flash flooding, as I mentioned, gusty winds, and this includes parts of Nevada as that moisture will feed up to the north. Models have been locked in on, again, this target here, but it will weaken. Again, once it gets near land and lifts up to the north, there will be weakening, but all locked in, drawing that moisture up to the north. So you see it here. Here is Major Hurricane Hilary right now. And again, this part of the Eastern Pacific, they're still called hurricanes. This is later today. Core of it offshore, but you get that heavier rain wrapping around it. And I do believe this will have a predecessor rain event. That is some rain that really gets out ahead of it. So look at this. This is by tomorrow. This is still way the heck down here, but there's that predecessor rain event. I believe we're going to see a little surge of rain. This sometimes happens out ahead of a tropical system, especially when they're kind of lifting up to the north like this. And you see that extra rain that's already going to be building in Southern California. Rain working in extreme western sections of Mexico. Again, western sections of Mexico, as I mentioned. Please make those preparations now. Get them done because tropical storm conditions moving in near hurricane force. Rain a big threat. Mudslides a big threat as we get into our western sections of Mexico. And then lifting up to on Sunday, this is Sunday morning, lifting up to the north more. Potential landfall either way right near the coast. They'll be weakening here, but then rain and still gusty winds become a big issue. This is Monday morning, and look at that rain feeding into parts of California, Nevada. As far as Arizona goes, extreme western sections will have a better chance of rain. But again, making those preps now for extreme flash flooding in areas. Can't stress that enough. Highly unusual event. That is not good for the topography and just based on the vegetation that we have in parts of California and Nevada. This is going to be an historic event as far as a tropical system moving in, coming in from Mexico and lifting up to the north, watching Sunday into Monday for some significant impacts as we get into parts of California and Nevada. Here are the winds, the core of the winds, the worst hurricane force winds offshore, but there will be hurricane force gusts. You see this white shading and then this red shading. That red shading right there, those are winds of 110 kilometers an hour. And I have miles per hour on there as well. That's 70 miles per hour. Hurricane force winds are 74 miles per hour or greater. So the red is very close to hurricane force. This is as we get into late on Saturday. And then you see, again, hurricane conditions right across Baja California as we work our way into extreme western Mexico, as we work our way into late Saturday into Sunday. This is Sunday midday. Still some hurricane conditions possible right through here. And then later on Sunday, it's going to weekend, but that's when the gusty winds start to move in. Sunday night into Monday morning, and then through the day on Monday, gusty winds. Look at the white shading here in parts of Arizona, parts of southern Nevada into California. We're going to have some winds of about 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers an hour. So again, very gusty winds, and I mentioned the rain on top of that will be moving in. Let me show you the rain here, kind of the focus of that. And you see this kind of almost black shading here. So that darker shading you're seeing here, western sections of Mexico right into California and Nevada. Look at that black shading, even some of that red right there. That's about half a foot of rain. We have the potential for half a foot of rain out of this. Could be more in spots, or 150 millimeters of rain. And that's why I mentioned the flash flooding, life-threatening flash flooding. That is going to happen in Southern California, parts of Nevada, and keeping an eye on parts of Arizona as well. Now, the name on the list right now is Hilary. This shifted a little bit on me. Irwin, the next name on the list. Pacific side gets a different set of names. So there's different sets all across the country. All right, breaking it down now. Caribbean, again, watching Eastern Caribbean. You see Barbados. That rain chance goes up a whole lot. I'm going to fine tune this either later today or tomorrow with another video. I'm going to work nonstop to watch where this heavy rain is going to go. But please, again, share this video. It is a concern. The flooding is a big concern with that tropical disturbance that's moving in. Close to home development is a big concern for me this time of year, and we're going to see that with this system. It could become a tropical storm regardless. St. Lucia, Sunday, watching very carefully, gusty winds, heavier rain. Trinidad and Tobago, we have been active. We're going to see more areas of flooding. And again, I will zoom down. Hopefully most of this rain stays to the north, although I know some of us want the rain to help cool down. But again, this is a big blob of rain. If it's coming at Trinidad and Tobago, I will zoom down. We'll go area by area for you. Grenada, again, the rain chance building, watching that. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, watching that rain chance building by Sunday. So I'm giving you that heads up now that we've got a developing system. We'll see how much it develops, but we do have a developing system that's about to pull into the Eastern Caribbean. And a lot of folks have been talking about other things. But again, I'm focused on this. Jamaica, rain chance scattered about a 50% chance the next few days. Bahamas, again, tomorrow especially, we've got that blob of rain in the Bahamas that'll move near Florida and then try to develop into the Gulf a little bit before that slides near Texas in northeastern sections of Mexico by the time we get into early next week. Belize, rain chance 30 to 40% through the weekend, a 50% chance this weekend in the Cayman Islands. Rain chance elevated the next 2 days in the Turks and Caicos, and then that moisture will pull away back into the Gulf of Mexico. Guadeloupe, watching Sunday. Again, Sunday is the day I'm keeping a very close eye on, and then early next week over toward Haiti, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico, Dominica, rain chance shooting up. We could have big flood issues on Sunday, but I want to fine tune it as I go throughout the day today. Martinique, same thing, watching this rain that is going to pull in. Somewhere we're going to get this very heavy rain in parts of the Eastern Caribbean. Puerto Rico kind of depends on the track. But again, heads up in Puerto Rico, share this channel. We have that new tropical disturbance. And as you well know in Puerto Rico, we don't need a named system to cause big issues with flooding and the power grid. U.S. and British Virgin Islands, I'll keep an eye on early next week. Again, just really depends on how this system evolves, the track of it. Early next week in Haiti, we could see a flood threat, a big flood threat, if the European model becomes a little more, or is right, because that would bring more of the rain back toward Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So I'm going to keep an eye on that across Hispaniola for that higher flood threat as we work our way into next week. Scattered showers and storms, Dominican Republic until then. And again, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, this does hinge on what happens with this system. Antigua, Barbuda, same thing. If this is more like the American model, Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, I'll bump up that rain chance Monday into Tuesday, or rather Sunday into Monday, with a system that will be nearby. So again, watching Sunday, St. Martin, Saba, Statia, as we work our way into Aruba, Curacao, Bonaire. Most of it has been flat out missing us. It's kind of going around an area of high pressure. So the pattern just keeps this off to the northeast and then lifts it up to the north. And that's why we've been dry. The steering conditions not in our favor for getting rain. Heavy rain, still watching that in parts of Costa Rica. Nicaragua, I've been watching that. Very elevated chance of the rain. Northern Venezuela, we're holding on to a scattered 40% chance, 50 to 60% chance in Guyana. Northern Guyana in particular, a little bit more in the way of isolated flooding. Suriname rain chance will go down this weekend to a 30% chance. So Caribbean development possible. Regardless of that, again, a high concern for flooding and mudslides, even some gusty winds that'll be moving in. It could become a tropical storm either way, just what I said, the wind and rain on the way. And I'm watching many more areas out there. I'll keep an eye on the Gulf. I'll keep an eye on those additional tropical waves in the Atlantic and watching Hilary. Again, that forecast is pretty locked in for Hilary now. Next name on the list on the Atlantic side, that is Emily. So please, again, thank you for sharing this channel because I want to give you the early heads up. This will be a season of things that may not look like a whole lot, and then they move close, and then they could intensify pretty quickly just because of the conditions we have this season. So thank you for being part of this weather community. It is for you. I know that I'll be watching things throughout the day nonstop. It's what I do. Drives my family nuts. I hope you have a good day ahead.